Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Conflict Zone. Please subscribe and like my videos. Today we're diving into the recent wave of Russian missile strikes, what they are, how they're being used, how Ukraine and its allies are responding, and what it all means. Let's start with the exterior. On the surface, what we're seeing is a massive launch of missiles by Russia targeting key infrastructure, military nodes, and support networks of Ukraine and its allies. These missiles include cruise missiles, short and medium-range ballistic missiles, and reportedly some hypersonic systems. According to one study, Russia launched more than 1,400 missiles at Ukraine from September 2022 through 2024. The scale is huge. From a visual and strategic standpoint, exterior-wise, we see missiles flying in waves, coming from varied directions, aiming to saturate Ukraine's air defense. The exterior story is one of overwhelming firepower and broad targeting, power plants, communication hubs, logistics lines. For instance, one strike targeted the city of Dnipro and its infrastructure, including missile-making capacity. Now turning to the interior, by which I mean the underlying mechanics, strategy, vulnerabilities, and the internal functioning of this missile campaign. Inside Russia's campaign we find layers: production, stockpiles, targeting, air defense, evasion, and command control. According to analysts, the doctrine of firepower strike is central. Mass missile salvos intended to degrade enemy capacity, instill terror, and overwhelm defenses. Russia's stockpiles are significant. Ukrainian estimates suggest Moscow has around 500 ballistic missiles that are still ready for deployment. But within that interior system, there are cracks. Studies show that the performance of Russian missiles has been less reliable than claimed, with many fails or poor accuracy in earlier phases of the war. On the targeting side, Russia has adapted by using missiles plus drone swarms, layered attacks. On the defense evasion side, analysts note that Russia's short-range ballistic missiles remain the deadliest in its arsenal, precisely because they are harder to intercept. From the Ukrainian side, the interior challenge involves their air defense systems, command and control, and coping with civilian infrastructure damage. The interior also involves how Ukraine's allies supply missiles, how the logistic lines hold, how morale and economy sustain. In short, the interior insight is that this isn't just a matter of missile-launched missile hits, but a complex system of production, strategy, testing, adaptation, and counter-adaptation. Russia may be strong on numbers, but questions remain about sustainability, accuracy, cost, and the ability of Ukraine with allied support to absorb and respond. Moving on to performance, how are these missiles actually doing? Data suggests that despite large volumes of fire, many missiles do not reach their intended destructive potential. For example, one major study indicated that Russia's missile performance in Ukraine has been poor compared with the capabilities Moscow has advertised. On the other hand, the volume itself is part of the performance. Sheer saturation is a tactic. Interception rates are high in some periods. In the study, 83.5% of Russian missiles launched between Sept 2022-2024 were intercepted daily. That suggests that although performance in terms of damage may be lower than expected, performance in terms of launching and pressuring is significant. Analysts also show Russia is exploring experimental missiles and new systems, e.g., an URBM-type missile used in November 2024. So the performance is a mix. High numbers, some penetration, but not uniformly decisive. Defenses are improving, but the pressure remains. On safety features, obviously, in the military/war context, this is different from consumer product safety. For missiles, safety might translate to control systems, reliability, fail-safe modes to prevent accidental launch, radio/EW protection, etc. In this case, there are reports of reliability issues, flawed guidance, component shortages, e.g., Russia being found to rely increasingly on Russian/Belarusian rather than Western electronics, so safety, in terms of missile performance, reliability is not entirely assured. On the defending side, safety features from Ukraine/allies include strong air defense systems, detection networks, allied intelligence networks, and civil defense precautions. The performance of those safety features determines how well civilian and military infrastructure survive. Reports of thousands of missiles and drones each month show the safety burden is very high. Unique selling points in military terms, what the Russian missile campaign and its missiles offers. Russia are several strategic advantages. 1. The ability to strike deep into enemy territory and infrastructure, thereby degrading Ukraine's war fighting capability and morale. 2. The ability to force Ukraine's allies to continue large aerial defense budgets and divert resources. 3. Signaling effect, demonstrating Russia has advanced systems including hypersonics and thus attempts to shape deterrence and alliance behavior. For example, the use of an intermediate-range ballistic missile was as much signaling as tactical utility. On the flip side, Ukraine and its allies are promoting the unique selling point of their defense and resilience, being able to intercept large volumes, adapt rapidly, and survive despite heavy pressure. That dynamic is unique. Sustained missile campaigns combined with defense integration. Price, again, this is military equipment, so price is complex. But one key aspect is cost-exchange ratio, the cost of missile launching vs. cost of intercepting or defending. Studies suggest Russia's campaign is very costly, both in missiles which cost millions of dollars each and in logistics. Meanwhile, Ukraine and its allies must deploy expensive air defense interceptors, radar, electronics, civil defense. So the price is borne by both sides, Russia paying for volume and production, Ukraine paying for defense and reconstruction. Analysts question whether Russia can sustain the current rate of fire given economic/manufacturing constraints. Conclusion: what does this all add up to for our viewers here on Conflict Zone? The Russian missile campaign targeting Ukraine and its allies is substantial, sophisticated, and strategically serious. It has exterior visibility in mass fire, power, and interior depth in doctrine, production, and adaptation. The performance is mixed, but the volume adds up to serious pressure. Safety in defense terms is under great strain for Ukraine, but they continue to hold. The unique selling points for Russia are strike depth, quantity, and aura of advanced capability. For Ukraine/allies, they are resilience, defense integration, and international support. The price is immense for both sides, financially, materially, and human-wise. Ultimately, the war of missiles may not decide the war entirely, but it strongly shapes the battlefield, the economy, the infrastructure, the daily life of civilians, and the alliance system. As a viewer, it's crucial to watch not just the missiles themselves, but how the systems of production, defense, logistics, targeting, and diplomacy interconnect. We'll keep tracking evolutions, new missile types, new defense counter measures, shifts in targeting, changes in cost-exchange ratio. If you found this explanation useful, please hit like, subscribe, share with others interested in the war dynamics. Thanks for watching.